Okay. Adekunle O. So what do you have? You said no new reports. There's a particular page that is showing. You should see new somewhere. New. So just click on what is under it. It's just like you are creating a new Excel sheet. You know how you work with your Excel.
Can't even see anything like new. Just a plain screen I'm seeing. Plain screen with recent. Plain screen with recent and OneDrive. That's what I'm saying.
With what?
So I say home, open, I open, and then I say recent, then OneDrive. Sign in options.
Click on home. Click on home.
Click on home. Okay, I can see under home. There's new. Okay. Okay.
All right. So
new report, right?
I think I already said that before.
Okay. All right. Let's go.
So you have this page. Okay. We've identified our data pane. We've identified our visualizations pane. Our filters pane also here, likewise. Okay. Now at the top, just like in Excel. Now in Excel, what did I call this topmost part? Let me see those people that have been following my class very well. This topmost part, what did I call it in Excel?
Ribbon.
Very good. Ribbon. Okay, so because it's also a Microsoft application, okay, it's also called a ribbon here. All right, so I have my ribbon with my ribbon tabs, my ribbon groups, and ribbon controls. Okay, then you can see your canvas, this area. So if I zoom out a bit, let me zoom out a bit, zoom out at the bottom here, zoom out. So you can see the canvas properly. Can you see the demarcation, the border that I said Power BI automatically creates for you? Okay, so you cannot build any visual outside the border. Anything you are building is only going to be inside this border. Okay, so you can change the layout, the style of the canvas by coming to where you have this format your report page on the visualizations pane. Okay, click on it, come to where you have canvas settings. Okay, open up canvas settings, then change the type to, you can change it to letter. If you change it to letter, you see how it looks like now. It looks like a letter format. Isn't it? Okay, so that is the difference. So you can use a custom if you want to set the custom size yourself, but the default is 16:9, which is what we're going to work with. So I'm going to select that and we move on. Okay, so you can change the color of your background from white to something else. Expand canvas background. First and foremost, this transparency that you have there, click and turn it down totally. Then change the color from white to maybe black, or from black to maybe blue, or from blue to maybe orange, or whatever it is that you like. Okay, so I'll change it back to white. Okay, and I'll turn on my transparency back. So that's all for this place. Let me come back here. Now, there's someone mic that is on. Okay, very good. So now, we want to get data. Remember I said you need to know the data source. What is your data source? Is it an Excel file? Is it a CSV file? Whatever. Okay, so there are some data you've worked with. Now, not those data that we use for practicing, like those ones that have plenty sheets. deleting blanks, filter, this thing. No. There are some proper data that we worked with. For instance, now the one we used to do data, we used to do our projects, that kind of data, okay, that is proper on your Excel sheet. Now, you can get data by clicking Get Data. If it's an Excel book, workbook, you click on Excel workbook. If it's a CSV format, you click CSV format. So you can see the sources. This is common data sources here. Okay? Or you can click More, which will now show you all the data sources. So you can see variety of data sources. You can connect to dynamic nav. I mean, there are some of these data sources that you will not even use at all because your work does not require it. Okay? So you can see the sources available to you here. All right? But if your data is in an Excel workbook, you simply use Excel workbook to connect to it. Okay? But we want to follow this step to create a simple Power BI visual. Okay? So, but before we do that, let me show you the table view here. For some of you, it might not say table view. Okay, it might show table view. If you have not loaded data, it might show table view. Maybe when you load data, to change it to semantic model. But if it's semantic model, it is showing, there's no problem. I think there's an issue with tonight's class. Let me check something. Because since class started, I noticed that I've not had more than 100 people. I've not had more than 100 people. Is it that some people are unable to join due to the limits? Is there a limit again? Okay, nobody is complaining.
It's network, sir.
Okay, maybe it's network. It's not network. Somebody just sent a message just right now on the WhatsApp platform.
Yeah, it's not network.
Just right now. The meeting has reached a maximum of 100 participants. I think there's an issue.
The free version is bad.
Yeah. And it is something, but it should automatically drop from the. This is one of the issues that comes with not being able to pay. You know, these services, you pay for them in dollars. Okay, so you cannot use your Nigerian card because they've already restricted that. Okay, so there's a limit to the amount that they can charge per transaction. So you have to manually change dollar, then pay and do this thing. I mean, this is something that's meant to be straightforward because of all these issues in Nigeria. Well,
yeah,
it is well. Let's proceed. I think I will just message the person to send me student ID because she was on the class. Network kicked her out and she was unable to join back. Okay, so let's continue. Now, this is the table view. This is your table. Your data will show on the table view. Okay. Model view. We're going to look at all of that later on. But let's come back to our report view and do a simple visual. Okay. So we're going to try a sample semantic model. So they've replaced this. In my picture, it is try a sample data set. But they've changed it. So semantic model is simply a data that has been loaded into Power BI before. Okay, so you are grabbing it from a particular Power BI model. Okay, so it's semantic model, just think of it, it's also data sets. Okay, it's simply data sets. All right, so now click try a sample semantic model. Okay, you will now see that the only thing different is
please,
try a sample data set and try a sample semantic model. You will see that what comes after it is the same. See down here, try a sample semantic model. But in the picture I have try a sample data set. Okay, but once you click on it, what comes from it is basically the same. Okay, so We can either take a tutorial online, all right? But what we want to do is to experiment on our own. All right? We want to experiment on our own. So we're going to click load sample data. Bam. So when I click load sample data, you see what it brings out for me. So we want to work with the financials. So if you click on financials, now you can see that there's a checkbox. There's a box here. Okay, if you just click on the name, it will preview the data like this. It's showing you a preview of the data. Okay, but you cannot do anything. I want to load it into Power BI. Remember, it says you haven't loaded any data yet. So I want to load it. So in order to be able to load it, I need to check the one I want to load. Once I check the box, now the load icon is activated. In the next class, we will look at transform data. But for now, let's just load in data. Load data. So it's going to load. It might take time, okay? But remember that I told you this application is heavy. So you need to give it time, let it load. How do you know it has finished loading? Your data will appear on the data pane. Do you see that? So my data appeared on the data pane, and then my canvas, it has changed from add data to your reports. It has changed it to what? Build visuals with your data. Because it now knows that, oh, you have data on your data pane. Okay, so I'm going to click this to expand. Okay, on my data pane, the name of my data is financials. I'll click this arrow to expand. Now you see that it appears the way it will appear on your pivot table. You have your column names. So these are the column headers or the column names. If you want to view it like a table format, come to table view on your navigation pane. Click table view or semantic model, and you will have it in table format. Do you see that? So do you see that? You have table view, and you can see your data in table format. Okay, so let's come back to report view. So we want to create a simple Power BI visual. So let's follow the step one after the other. So we've loaded sample data. They say we should mark the checkbox. We did that. Then click load. We did that. So we can now expand. So we expanded. Congratulations, you have successfully loaded your data into Power BI desktop. Now let's create our first visual. From your visualizations pane, select the stacked bar chart visual. So this is the visualizations pane. This is the stacked bar chart. So let's go there. Let's see. So do you see the stacked bar chart? This is the visualizations pane. This is the stacked bar chart. So select it. Do you see that? Okay. Are we not going to consolidate the data? So the data is in just one table. It's not in different tables. So there's no consolidation here. If it's in different tables, we can even create relationship with it without doing any VLOOKUP. Okay. So just follow me. Now, I have this visual inserted. Okay. So what do I want to do now? Drag and drop the segment and sales data from the data pane to the y-axis and x-axis respectively on the visualization pane. Okay, so segment to y-axis, sales to x-axis. Now, I need you to understand why it is y-axis and x-axis. Okay, look at the kind of chart I'm using. It's going from left to right. So it means that the title of the bar, each bar will have their name here. Okay, and then the magnitude will be on this axis, x-axis. So the name of the bars or the categories of the bars will be on the y-axis. So the category is segment. Remember, segment is a categorical data. So I will drag segment. This is segment. Click and drag it and drop it where you have y-axis. Okay. Then sales. This is sales here. Click, drag, and drop it on x-axis. And automatically I compute my first visual. So congratulations, you are officially welcome to Power BI. So you have done your first visual in Power BI. So here we see sum of sales by segments: government, small business, enterprise, mid-market, channel partners. All right. So you see that if this was in Excel, okay, after opening your data, what would you have to do? You first convert your data into proper table, then you insert pivot table, then you drag this, drag that. You will have the pivot table first. Then you will now go to pivot chart. You can see here, you did not have to go through all of that. Once you bring in your data here, you simply do what? Visualize. Very good question. What if the data needs cleaning before loading? Two answers. Number one is either you have cleaned the data in Excel first, or you click transform data. There's a place where we had transform data. Okay, that is the ETL process, extract, transform, load. Meaning extract your data, connect to your data source, grab your data first, transform your data, that's the data cleaning, then load it into the application in order to begin your analysis. Okay, but what we just did was extract and load currently, because I don't want to take you to the transform tab yet. Okay, because that will take us to the Power Query editor. So that is another different class next week. Next week, Wednesday, yes. So another class entirely. We are going to look at data cleaning in Power BI. So we'll be looking at Power Query editor. Fully immersive approach. So most of the data cleaning techniques that we did in Excel, we'll use that same file and see how we can do it in Power Query. Okay, so, but we're not doing data cleaning yet. Okay, so now back to this. So if I want to expand a chart or minimize it back, okay, I have some corners. Now these are corners of the visual. You have some tiny little something like icons that you can click and drag in order to expand, close it up a bit or something. Okay, so I have my first visual. All right, now if I want to select another visual, I need to click outside first. So let me click outside. Let's do 4 visuals. So currently we have sales by segment. Let's look at another visual. Let me select donut chart. Beautiful. And let me do sales by let's say country. Okay, sales by country. So I will drag country to legend, and I will drag sales to values. So this gives me sales by country. Straightforward. Let's do 2 more. Let me click outside. Let me insert another chart. Let me use a stacked column chart. This one now. Click on it. And let us do profits by let's say profits by products. So drag now for this, because products is now the categorical variable. Remember, this bar is going from down to top. So it means my categories will be at the bottom, right? So I need to drag my products to x-axis. So my categories is on the x-axis now. And then my sales will be on y-axis. Beautiful. Right? And then finally, let's include one more chart. Let's use a line chart. And then let us do expand date. If I expand date, I have date hierarchy. I will expand that one as well. I have month. Isn't it? So let us do sales by month. So I will drag month to x-axis. And I will drag sales to y-axis. Sales by month. And you have your first dashboard. Although you can still make use of some formatting, changing color, appearance, and stuff. Okay, but your first set of visuals in Power BI. Do you see that? So let me close this filters pane. So remember I said why Power BI in this tool? The output. So well done on creating your first Power BI visual. Okay, so saving your Power BI file. So these are the steps you can follow to save it. So click File on your ribbon tab, click Save, type the name to save as, and then click Save. Or you can simply press Ctrl S. Okay, simply press Ctrl S. So I want to quickly show you something. Remember we said something. We said, why Power BI? So we said Power BI because of what? Because, where is it? It's not here. Okay, it's under the definition. So, allows you to turn your data into interactive insights. This one says into interactive reports. Okay? Interactive insights, So what do we mean by that? If I come back to my Power BI, now, currently, this data is showing overview. This is sum of sales by products. This is sum of sales by segments. But if I want to see, okay, I only want to see for government. Okay? I want to see how much we're making from each product when we sell only to government. I want to see how much we're making from each country when we sell only to government. I want to see how much we're making each month when we sell only to government. I can click on a visual to interact with it. If I hover on a visual, you see what it brings out? It brings out a tooltip. That is called a tooltip. Okay, segment is government, the sales is 52 million. Now, if I click on that bar, bam, it's loading. Do you see what happens? Do you see what happens with the rest of the visuals? It now shows for only government. So if I come to this visual now, the product is Passio. The sum of sales for Passio is 33 million. Highlighted, meaning the one for government that you selected now, highlighted is 14 million. So from when they purchase Passio in total. So this is what we mean by interactivity. So if it is small business I click on, you see that it formats it, the rest. So if I want to undo this, just click on the bar again. So I can, if it's this one I click on, Amarilla, it will tell me, okay, when government buy Amarilla, this is how much we earn. When small business buy Amarilla, this is how much we earn. Let me click on it, go back. If I click on a particular country, let's say France, I click on France. If you format it, so this is how much we are making from France government, from France small business, from France enterprise. This is how much we're making when we sell Pasio in France, when we sell VTT in France. Okay, so this is what they mean by interactivity. All right, so I'm going to close that. Okay, so this is a simple dashboard, contains just 4 visuals. Okay, so when we get into work fully, in the next class, we might not even touch any visual at all, because we'll be working mainly in the Power Query. The next class and maybe upper class, then we'll look at DAX. Then we'll look at a bit of creating relationship between table, data modeling. That will still come under the DAX aspect. Then we'll look at working on some projects. So 5, 7, or 7 to 8 classes thereabouts. Okay, so this is the beginning of Power BI. So have you found tonight's class insightful? Let me share the attendance now. This is where we're going to call it a day. So I'm going to be sharing the attendance. And if you have any questions, please do ask now. Your load tab is not enabled. Kindly assist. So please go to the slide. There's a particular step that you are missing out. Okay. I've seen it from your distance. Okay. So there's a particular step you are missing out. So check the slide and follow the step one after the other. The load tab will become enabled. Do we have any other questions? How many visuals can a dashboard take? Depends on how you arrange it. And remember, don't cluster your visual. Also remember, you can always increase the size of your visual. Okay, but just make sure that the visuals on your dashboard are not too much. It will be difficult to read. Okay, so there's nothing like a particular limit to the number of visuals. Any other questions? Do we have any other questions? How do we get the app to give hints on which data to drop on X and Y axis? No, the app does not give hints like that. It doesn't give hints like that. So the explanation I gave is the best you can get. Okay. Yes, you can save your Power BI file anywhere you like. So kindly fill your attendance. I have never marked attendance. Can I do all today? You can only mark attendance for the class you are currently in. So for instance, today now we only mark for today. It can't mark for previous classes. Okay. So do we have any other questions? So please mark your attendance now. The attendance should be increasing. Kindly mark your attendance. Let me check for those people on the WhatsApp platform. Wow, people have complained, oh God. Okay, so I'm having some. Able to join. So I want to drop a message on the platform for them. All right. So I think the what's it called? The subscription. Mrs. Adeni, I don't know. You always say this class after class. You don't know how to mark attendance. I dropped a link where you are chatting. There's a link that has been dropped there. Click the link. It will take you to a page where you can put your student ID and submit. That is the link I've been sending class after class. So you type your student ID on that link. Don't put any space because I noticed that there's a space